season. So let's talk about Kadyn Proctor, because 2-4 Sports posted an exclusive interview with him, and obviously it focused on his decision to leave the Tide for the Hawkeyes, only to go back to Tuscaloosa in the same month. So he had some interesting quotes in the interview. One of them was, "I definitely regret it." He just flat out came and said that. "It's probably one of the worst decisions that I've made in my life." JP, what are your thoughts on this article and Kadyn kind of coming out and laying it all out on the table?
Well, if I'm an Iowa fan, I certainly don't feel good about this. You got a guy who's coming from a program where he played for, Nick Saban for a year. This was a team that was in the college football playoff, transfers to Iowa from his home state, and is like, nah, worst decision I ever made. Ugh. I feel like that does not necessarily reflect well on the program. So that's that. I don't think
tough.
Iowa is as bad as Kadyn Proctor is trying to make it out to be.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a difference between walking in the Alabama locker room and the Iowa locker room and going out on the practice field and what you see and hear and feel there.
Yeah.
From a personnel standpoint.
Yeah.
I think the coaches are phenomenal at Iowa. I do want to say that. The flip side of it is, coming back in, me at my age right now, I feel like some people don't have the gift of learning from others. So they have to learn through personal experience. And if that's what he had to do to realize the grass was not greener, I understand that. I welcome you back in with open arms. Me, when I was 19, brother, so you gonna walk in here and think that this is not gonna be a problem for us?
Yeah. Well, so this is what I find pretty interesting about this, because I completely agree. At 19, I would feel kind of hurt that you turned your back on the program, right? And then, oh, we tried to convince you to stay, and then you come right back. Like, you need to prove something to me. But some of the interesting things in this article, like, first off, he was 18 years old at the time of transfer. Okay, let's remember, like, this is a young college kid. You got to learn from mistakes when you're young. So he also talked about his conversations with Saban leading up to his decision. And Saban said, hey, you are in our plans for the future. So Kadyn Proctor had no indication that Saban was going to leave. A week later, Saban retires. He said that led into his emotional decision. And then the other piece of this, JP, is there was a few quotes in the article where he was talking about he maintained contact with his teammates, and they were reaching out to him saying, we'd love to have you back. So I think that that's a positive sign for him in terms of the locker room. He's got some allies. But even Kadyn basically said, hey, I have something to prove. This has kind of renewed his passion and his love. And I think that's the decision as now a 19-year-old. He had his birthday on June 4th. It's okay to make a mistake. Don't be a repeat offender. Learn from it. This can turn into a positive for Kadyn Proctor.
The interesting part about our plans for the future from Saban is I feel like he is the type of guy, and he's said this, that wants to still be connected to Alabama. And I think he needs to give Kalen DeBoer his space to be his own dude. I like that about him. I think he would still mentor a guy like Kadyn Proctor if he ever picked up the phone. So when Nick Saban says that, I don't think it's like this lie, that this guy said he was going to be here and I was going to be in his plans for the future, and now he's not.
Yeah.
I just think it's a different capacity than what he would have imagined it would have been at first.
It just sounded like me. It probably was therapeutic in a sense for Kadyn Proctor to get this article out because he owned it. He said it was the worst decision of his life. He had a ton of people saying, man, you really shouldn't do this. He did it. He learned the hard lesson. Now he's back. Now his opportunity is to make this the right decision.